Lucky Knight 013 here with another game guide. Earlier I showcased a 4x4 Jeep off-road vehicle, and now I'm going to demonstrate a little bit of what it took to create this vehicle. So here we have the vehicle. You can change the camera, turn lights on and off. A really neat feature is the ability to change the vehicle's colors through your character selection. Now, these features are all pretty simple to do, and I'll showcase those in a different video. What I'm going to show you today is how we got this amazing suspension system to work. And actually here we have the prototype for this vehicle. And it's pretty basic, pretty simple, and it does not work the same way as the finished version, but it's a rough outline of how the 4x4 Jeep started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do, we'll pause the game, we'll go into our goodies bag, and I always use wood for my initial creations, and we're also going to want to turn our grid snap on. I'm going to go to the smallest, and then I'm going to want to zoom in quite a bit here. Now, create the suspension, we want to create a block like that. Actually, we'll go one further down. And we'll have a 3 long block there. Okay, now we're going to need something to hook the wheels up to. Okay, now we need to connect these two pieces. We're going to connect the first one with a bolt. I may need to turn off Snap Grid to do that. And then the second, we actually just want to glue to this back piece there. So now we have the space back there. And then we need to connect this piece to this piece via spring. Okay. And we're also going to need to connect this piece to this piece via spring. Now, what we want to do is we're going to need to create this exact thing directly behind it. So what I'm going to do is copy this, move it 2 back. Now what I need to do is grab this. Actually, what I need to do, detach this, copy this, move it there, then delete that, and do the same thing here. Detach, oops, oops. Then we can erase this piece. Now we kind of essentially have the same thing front and back. I do need to remember to connect everything back together. just need to throw some more springs back on here. Okay, now we need to change this to a stiff mode. No, about 80% to start. And then also here, stiff mode. No, 90%. Stiff mode. No, 90%. Okay, now we need to make sure that we have everything glued together that needs to be. It should be this top piece. Make sure it's glued to this piece. Okay, it is. We need to make sure that this piece is glued to that piece. Okay, now we can engineer our wheels. So a simple way to do this, I always make circles when making wheels. This is going to be what how our wheel attaches to the hub. This is essentially our hub. So we'll put this here, and then we'll go out. And then we'll go like this. Okay. Now we need to attach these. Just a simple screw works. Now when you're using a circle, it will magically lock into the center as long as it's a round object. So that will keep any of your wheel wobble from going through. And that's why I use a circle on the backside as well, because it's going to lock right onto the center for me there. Okay, now that we have those produced, I'm going to change the material. We don't want solid steel. We want some rubber tires here. It's done in rubber. Here's the tire tread material. Go ahead and use that. Okay. Now what we need to do, so I want to try to select both these at the same time, so that they're perfectly symmetrical. And we're going to push this until we make contact there. Now what we will do is glue those two pieces together. So we want to glue this piece to the bottom strut. This piece to the bottom strut. Now essentially that is the base. Now what we want to do is copy this and press in the left stick to create a copy, then press in the right stick to flip it. So there we go. Now we need to connect all of our suspension towers together. I'm going to try to keep it as basic as possible. And I'm just going to do it just like this. Okay. Now I just need to glue all of the wooden pieces to that center piece. Okay. Now what I want to do is set up a small work stand, if you will. I want it to be right about there. Just bring it straight down and connect it to the ground. Now when I unpause this, everything should drop. There it goes. Okay, as you can see, those springs are very springy. What I want to do is tighten those up. Okay, and we're going to want a maximum travel length. So what we're going to do is probably right about there. We'll pause it. And what we'll do is we'll throw on some strings, which is going to max out how far down they can travel. We don't want elastic, we want not a rod, string. And we'll connect that to the top of our strap and then to the bottom of our strap. And then we'll do the same back here. And back here. Okay. Now we want to make all of the strings the same length. So we're going to bring it to 11. Springs to stay the same. We need to get that to 11. String to 11. And string to 11. See, that maxes out the travel. From here, we can delete this. And as you can tell, that spring is not strong enough to support the weight. So, we're going to increase the length to about 11. There we go. Now it's still quite wobbly. Put another stand under it. Okay, now what we need to do is connect all of our inner components here. So we need to get rid of that, get rid of this, get rid of that, get rid of that. Just so we can see what's going on between this component and this component. So we want a connecting rod from here to here, and then we want one from the bottom to here. Now what we're going to do with those rods is make them not stiff, and then we want them to be the same length. So this will round down to 13, and this will round up to 13. Now that'll lock those two components together so that they can't bind in and out. Okay, now we're going to want to do the same thing to the rear. Using the L2 button, you can make objects become transparent so you can work around them. So we're going to put a rod from here to here, and from here to here. And again, we're going to want to go with not stiff, 13, not stiff, 13. There we go. Now we need to do some physics tweaking. To do that, we want to change the friction of our shock mounts. Use our physics tweaker to do that. Oh, I'm sorry, not our physics tweaker, our material tweaker. Friction, we're going to run that down to about 10%. We're going to put that right on that component. And we need to do the same thing to the rear. Okay. So you have to make a lot of adjustments as you go and kind of fine tune it. It looks like we finally have a somewhat stable structure here. Yeah, it looks somewhat suitable. Got some bounce in it. Now let's hook up a seat. And then to achieve four-wheel drive, you just need advanced rotators on every wheel. we simply want to create the motion with the left stick. So we'll need to touch 1 to turn it on, and 1 to control the speed. Okay, and then we want it to be pressure sensitive, and we'll go with the default speed settings for now. Now, scale strength simply means how far you move the left stick will apply how much speed the vehicle goes. So there we go. I think we do have some basic obstacles here. Well, let's create some. I'm going to show off the 4-wheel drive independent suspension. We'll take this. Put it in line with that. Hop in. And there you go. That is a very stiff version, but that's the very basics of what you would need to do to create something similar to what I've created there. Of course, it still needs work, some fine-tuning. You know, the other thing that I would probably do before this is a true prototype would be to add a secondary set of springs from here to here. And then we're also going to need to make those. Not stiff. There you go. There you go. And that is the basics on how I made my 4x4 off-road Jeep. This is Lucky Knight 013. Thanks a lot for watching. Please leave any comments below if you have any further questions about how to create your 4x4 Jeep.